All right, so thank you for joining us again for another Inside AFC Fitness podcast. Joined today by two of our management team members, Michael and Radner and Paul here in Ballackinwood. Both membership team leaders, our sales managers, membership managers. And to kick it off, just kind of wanted to give you guys a chance to introduce yourselves, give you a little bit of background. Paul, a little bit newer, but Mike, we're still within the first year,
Yep.
so still consider that pretty new. So Mike, why don't you start, give us a little bit of background and kind of,
Yeah, sure. Came to AFC from, being in the fitness business over 14 years, various different, opportunities that I had owning my own gym, working for a couple other gyms as well as some studios. So just I love the fitness and love sales. So it was a perfect mesh.
Okay, great. What about you, Paul?
I came from the Y world. I was running kind of YMCAs, some in Delaware, some up in Rochester, where I'm originally from. So I recently moved back down. My daughter's starting school in Philadelphia. So I was excited to kind of jump back into the fitness world, really kind of be a part of another, company that cares about people and community and health and wellness. So I found the perfect job and been here for about a month now. I think I hit my month anniversary.
Perfect. So thank you for the transition, because that kind of rolls us into the next thing I wanted to bring up is kind of describing your guys' roles in the club. The name and the title and can sometimes minimize what we do. Actually, in most cases, minimize what we can do. A lot of it could be, we're firefighters, plugging problems and fixing things like that. So sometimes the title doesn't fit,
Right.
what all that you do. You guys, a lot of what you guys do is training team members,
Yep.
but then also doing the job itself. You guys have one of those kind of rare crossovers where you're leading a department, but also doing the job itself.
Right.
So from that connection standpoint, give me a little bit of like the day-to-day of leading the teams, doing the job, and then some of like the relational things that you guys do in your jobs when it comes to your teams and networking.
Sure. So day in the life basically.
Yeah.
With the Radner team, we're a team of 3. So, depending on what's on the agenda for the day, it's just we do a little bit of training, check-in, daily huddles with them. But ultimately, the goal is that we mesh as a unit. When it comes to my role, it's just making sure that everybody's on the same page, and we're basically covering each other, when we need to. And then just a lot of training, a lot of inside out ideas for, how to handle objections, things like that. Just that constant reiteration of that process.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it's sometimes it's like putting out fires.
Yeah.
It's helping where needed. It's fixing things where needed when it comes to, trying to work with new members and getting them scheduled for their training sessions that they get. All of those little nuances that happen on a daily basis, just a matter of working through that process each day. For the end result that everybody feels successful at the end of the day.
Yeah. And Paul, for you, I kind of wanted to ask like the same question, but since you're only a month in, like you said, the kind of your feel and vibe around the AFC version versus the one you're coming from, because I'm sure it's a little bit different.
Yeah. So AFC, it's a little bit more cutting edge. It's a little bit more modern. It's a for-profit, and and when I mention that, it's like a little bit more leading the way, right? It's kind of a trendsetter facility, because we have things in here that I've never seen. So I take people on tours, and I'm, teaching them about a machine that like shakes you in the shape, like engages all your stabilizer muscles, something I've never seen before, right? So I'm learning all the new cutting edge stuff that's here, and for my job, I look at us kind of like relationship ambassadors, right? We're the first faces you see when you come in with a guest pass, or maybe you're interested. I had someone walk over the bridge and just want to check the place out. So, we meet with you. We kind of figure out, what your life is like, what you're looking for. A lot of times people need a change, right? And that's kind of what AFC offers, is a change. It's a healthy change. It's a way to kind of commit to yourself and your wellness. So we kind of find, all the different things that they can do here, because each person's different. But that's why we have so many different available like equipment and classes and spaces where you can be by yourself and do your own thing, like on the turf. So we just kind of match them with the routine and the change they want to make, and we facilitate it. So, as a manager, I work with my staff. My staff's kind of relatively new as well. We have great personalities. They're some of the most like kind and engaging people. We have people stop by all the time. That's probably one of our hurdles, is like, focus on our job a little bit more, less on kind of, talking to all the members coming in, because we just love our community here. So I kind of focus with them on, what's the plan for the day? What tours do we have coming in? How do we get out in the community more and kind of invite people in, take part of this, engage with people, try to get them to sign up and be a part of the community. And then we follow up with them. Like sometimes part of my day is I call members whose birthday it is, that maybe I've taken on a tour, I've met. Maybe I'll call and see how a new member's doing, making sure they're getting started with their plan. So every day is a little bit different, and that's kind of part of my job, is to figure out that plan for every day with the staff.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of all goes full circle around to the relational part of it, right? Your job doesn't really finish just from getting someone enrolled at the gym. We got to kind of make sure that they're engaged and connected and being able to be part of the community and it all. So with what you guys do and your teams do, a lot of it is centered around new members joining the gym. And I think sometimes we just drop everyone into that bucket. That's what they're doing. But there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to get to that point. And so I kind of wanted to highlight some of those things and give you guys a chance to kind of, whether it's here or previous jobs, some things you've done unique from a marketing perspective or introducing fitness or your business to other companies. One of the unique things with AFC Fitness is obviously that we offer a 30-day trial, and you get a chance, an opportunity to experience the gym for 30 days. And then there's all kinds of things underneath of that to allow you to experience the gym, whether it's, hey, you're an IV rehab patient and you're getting to visit the building. If you're a sports complex, participant in leagues or the coaches that we have here, Padelphia and all. So there's a lot of opportunities to be introduced to the building. And a lot of that is generated from marketing and SEO and social media. But what people don't realize is how much you guys actually do to facilitate, the new member experience or the non-member experience that eventually becomes a new member experience. And I'll take a quick chance to plug our new promo, which we'll talk about a little bit more, but the idea of the Give 4, Get 4 buddy referral program and your guys, your role and rolling out that team. So if you guys can give it some examples of just how behind the scenes, all the stuff that we do that's in front of everybody is happening, but what you guys have do, whether it's events or experiences you've done with your teams.
Yeah. So with being where we are at Radnor, we have a big corporate presence. So we try to get involved with like our local business associations, Wayne Business Association, we're members of. So any type they have events going on, we definitely, focus on getting out there, supporting them. Any of the charities, I know Radnor Little League, the AFC's, working with them as well this year. So it's a matter of prospecting, what we call prospecting really, but going out and meeting the community, going over to the corporate center, dropping off smoothie cards or taking free smoothies over, just any other way that we could show that we're welcoming in the community, so that hopefully brings people in.
Yeah.
And for me, it's today is a good example. I was almost late coming up here because I had a tour that came in because their girlfriend was already a member here. So their girlfriend loved the place. They brought in their boyfriend to be a guest today. And then I took them on a tour, showing them all the different things because they had very different fitness goals, different types of ways they like working out. But he felt so encouraged that instead of just doing the guest pass today, he signed up today. And a lot of times that's my job, is to get past people's fear of trying something new, right? That I kind of mentioned that change. It's scary to start a new fitness routine. It's scary when you're in a new town, you need to find a gym. It's scary just to get into that routine that's going to, pay off in the long run, but takes that consistent work. So a lot of times, when I sign people up, whether they're doing a free trial for that day or 30 days, I always find that, if they sign up and they kind of get started now instead of waiting and delaying, they're more successful. They come in more often. So that's kind of part of my job, is kind of get them over that barrier, that inertia that they need to get started on a plan. And, we do it different ways. We are lucky here at Bala because we have, the Bala Sports Complex and Padel, the tennis courts, the IV rehab, all located in this one major building. So it's a building designed for like health and rehabilitation. But then, later this week, I'm going to walk down the river and meet up with some of the businesses down here, try to create some partnerships, possibly be able to do some like events together, because we're all about community. We have community inside, but also community outside of us. And we just want to make it a welcoming place for people to come in and be a part of it. Because once they're in here, they pretty much, they stay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of my goal is kind of get them in, get into that routine, and then they fall in love. The building does the rest, and the staff does the rest.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of kind of what you just touched on, and we actually talked about with your team just yesterday about the connection and the introduction when it comes to, prospecting. Sounds like that big sales word, right? But it's really introductions and relationships you're trying to just establish, right? And whether that's business to business or, like you said, it's a referral, is just making us as accessible as possible and then letting them make the decision. And by them, not just the member, but it could be the business connection, right? Let the apartment complex or let the restaurant or let the whatever, or, the little league decide, hey, we want to partner with them in some sort of way. And so your guys' ability to get in and talk to and meet those leaders and decision makers to just connect, right? Not to sell them on anything or just introduce that fitness AFC is an option for them, whether it's for their employees or their leagues or, whatever it is important. And I think our teams with your guys' leadership is they're getting much better at the relational part of what you guys do and that connection. So that's a lot of outside the club connection, right? But as we know, there's the cycle. We kind of talk about the pyramid within the clubs of the facilities and operations and sales, the personal training and membership, and how all of those three kind of groups really need to work together to ensure that the member experience is always a positive one. So kind of going back to a day in the life type of topic, give me some examples of, for you guys individually or for your teams, how you guys get to cross over into working with the personal training department or the front desk in ways that maybe people don't always understand or see behind the scenes.
Yeah, sure. Especially use IVN personal training as an example. Sitting with somebody saying they have the shoulder issue, they can't get rid of it. First thing I'm going to do is say, why don't I come introduce you over to the Ivy crew, and then they can help you out through your physical therapy. Then once you're done there, it'll give the prescription to the personal trainer, and then we can actually work with you going forward once you get that figured out. So that's that interconnected relation. We have the lap pull downstairs. It's like we're always getting inquiries from people about do we do lessons? And it's like it's just building that connection between our swim partners as well as that prospect who's looking for lessons, for whether it's a toddler all the way up to teenagers. So that's all building that cohesive bond where the referral program really comes into play, because even though they may, like a swim person may not sign up, but they may know somebody because you built that relationship, they're going to refer somebody over. So it's just all those little intricate, really working within the relationships of the staff and the customer. And it's about a matter of making sure that we're all helping each other, whether we're, like you had mentioned, about walking a new member through the prospect of what their journey is going to be like. We're helping out a personal trainer, try to dig deeper, to possibly, get somebody to understand that it is beneficial for them to actually work with them. So they're all the kind of day-to-day conversations that we have that we don't even think about, because it just becomes second nature. Yeah. But it's a very critical part of helping somebody get to where they want to go.
Yeah.
So for me, I mean, every person that walks in here to Bala knows Zeke. They all know Zeke. Zeke got a haircut a week ago, and I sit right across from Zeke. So me and Zeke, we talk all the time. My office is right across from him. And every single member came and commented on it, because every single member has a relationship with Zeke. They know to expect him. They missed him when he was gone for a couple of days. And that's kind of my partnership with him is, I'm the first step. But then my goal is to, hand you off to PT, hand you off to Zeke, make sure that you feel comfortable in here, because you're not going to be successful unless you're comfortable. I had a tour 2 days ago. They came in, or I think maybe, 2 days ago. They came in and they wanted to, they wanted a personal trainer. They wanted to join, but they wanted a personal trainer that really motivated them, because they've already had personal trainers that, really weren't that motivating. They really didn't feel excited. They didn't have enough spark, right? And they're like, I almost want a personal trainer that's a little bit, crazy, super high energy, is going to woo. And so I immediately after the tour, I walked and I found Olivia here and I introduced her. And Olivia, without even saying anything, Olivia's like, let's go, and just started flexing and like jumping around. And then, she wanted to join right after that because, once you sign up, that's not the end of it. That's just the first step.
Yeah.
I'm part of that step. But my step is to get you to PT, to get you to Zeke, to get you in that routine and that comfort level where this is a successful place for you to be.
Right.
So we work very well together. Me, Peter from PT, and Zeke. I wish Zeke's name was Mary because then we could be Peter, Paul, and Mary. But we'll work with what we got. Yeah.
So yeah, listen. A lot of what you guys point out kind of actually leads into the next thing I was going to ask you guys about. Is the first impression, right? It's such a key part of whether it's the initial lead and the contact point, or if it's their actual first visit into the building. And we have some really great first impression people at our doors and at our front desk or in our training departments. When you guys are meeting with your teams and talking to them about first impressions, what are the topics, what are the conversations, and like, what are the expectations you want to set, not just for the membership team, but like, obviously it's key for you guys, for the front desk to have a great role in that. And for, like you said, use Liv as a great example, for them to be available and for that first impression. So what are you coaching your teams, not just membership wise, but maybe even cross training to the front desk and all, of what a first impression at AFC Fitness should be at your clubs?
I've been going first. You can go
Yeah,
first.
no, I got it. So with us, we take a lot of time, a lot of my training, a lot of my conversations with my staff is take the time to get to know the person in front of you. Because the unique thing that we have here is we have so many different options, it could be overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
So, someone comes in and maybe they're set, they're always working out the same way, but they want to try something new, right? But when you hit them with all these different options we have here, it's like, well, where do I get started? So a lot of times our goal is get to know the person, set them up with that mental plan on where to get started, what to try, introduce them to the key staff, like Liv or like Zeke, or anyone that might fit their unique kind of what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of a lot of our training is to really kind of get to know the person and match them with a visual plan and get them started on that plan before they walk out. Because anytime that you have that chance to talk yourself out of something, they're going to talk themselves out of it. Whether it's like, I don't want to wake up and go to the gym tomorrow, or maybe I'll start next week. It's just natural. So the more we get to know you, the more we have that conversation and build that relationship, the more successful you end up being. So we cross train over at the front desk a lot because we want to make sure we support each other, and we kind of know, we're not in a silo. Someone comes in my office all the time because I'm right there in the entrance.
Yeah.
And they're like, I have an issue with the app, right? And I'm still new and I'm still learning, but I'm not going to pass it on. Oh, that's Zeke's thing, right? Or, I'm curious about personal training. I'm not going to be like, okay, well, here's Peter's card.
Mm-hmm.
We're all in it together, right? And we're here to serve the member. And that means we have to kind of work within each other's departments sometimes. And it just helps inform us, especially when we're getting on a tour, how to best navigate someone to get them to be successful.
Right.
Yeah.
What about for you? What are your
one of the
Radnor expectations?
Yeah, one of the big things, Radnor's kind of unique in the AFC model in terms of how the desk is set up.
Yeah.
And all that. So it's very welcoming.
Yep.
Because we have a cafe that's there. We have our front desk staff. We're right around the corner from them. So as soon as we know somebody's coming in, one of us is up, going to the front desk, always getting their name first. If they're willing to handshake, shake their hand. Just that welcoming feeling. Introducing whoever's behind the cafe. Introducing who they are. Just really welcoming them in, opening the arms, bringing them in, says a lot about what, you guys have built over all these years in terms of AFC. And that, to me, that's first impression wise, that's the biggest, right there, right as they come in, getting the front desk staff to know who they are, their name. The team member shakes their hand. Any staff around say, Milton's always up there. It's like, hey, this is Milton.
Right. Yeah.
He's always hanging out up in the cafe area. And then just as you go through, anybody you meet on that tour, just, introducing them to them.
Yeah. And that flow of things.
Yep.
Yeah, it is interesting. The clubs are so different. People don't sometimes realize just the way things are constructed or laid out has a lot to do with that. And, you use what you have, right? So Radnor, you're right. It's bright, it's wide open, it has a very welcoming feel. but none of that really matters if the staff is not meeting
Correct.
the setup, right? And your club is very different, but the sales team and the front desk and Ivy are all right there together. But you can't tell me that Zeke and Raven and and our team at the front desk, that they really make the difference of that welcoming kind of feel there. So for you guys, and kind of go full circle here back to what you guys do, and really introducing two different aspects, right? We have member and non-member interactions every single day. And one of the key parts that I think some of our members, a lot of our members know, but don't know how much we talk about it, is the idea of our member referrals, and just the ability for them to connect with you guys, not just on a one-time basis, but to really establish a relationship, whether it's with you guys or the team as a whole or the general managers. And when they have the opportunity to refer people to the club. And, one of the things we've been talking about and getting ready to roll out is this referral program, which I'm sure you guys will kind of take the reins on as of tomorrow, to kind of give back to our members that have been willing to do that and be promoters of ours. And so we're definitely excited to get that going and to get you guys going with that. But the idea of rewarding our members for referrals is something that we're really looking forward to doing the second half of this month and then moving forward. But one of the other parts of that is being able to connect with our members beyond just joining in different ways. And one of the things that, we've talked about in a lot of our sales trainings and talk is like connecting, like where do people work, or what little leagues do they participate? Like, we want to connect where our members go. Where do they grocery shop? Where do they do those things? When you guys are talking with your membership teams and talking about making those connections, how do you bring up, or what are some things you've done in the past to initiate those conversations, whether it's member or training staff, to kind of continue the engagement beyond just signing them up?
Well, I can go again. So one of the things I want to do is people open up when they feel, like I mentioned the comfort before. You want the conversation to be natural, right? You don't want it to be scripted. You don't want it to be robotic, right? Every person's different. So kind of getting to know them. What do you do? What's what do you do for work? What's your schedule like? Mm-hmm. More importantly, what I enjoy is, what do you do for a hobby? What do you do for fun? A lot of times people, you'll find out more about someone's personality based on what they do during their free time, and a lot of people, we don't have a lot of free time. So a lot of times people, they don't want to share, well, I might be, watching TV or, the Real Housewives. But a lot of times you dig deep enough and you have that natural conversation, you'll get to really know, what their priorities are, what drives them, what's their passion. And once you can connect on that level, you can really kind of you can really help communicate to that person effectively, right? Because then you kind of understand where they're coming from. So a lot of our conversations, I try not to script it or anything like that. When I talk to my staff, I'm like, just ask those open-ended questions, see where the conversation goes, see what excites them, see what lights up their eyes as you're going through. And we do all that before the tour, because we want to get to know you before we show you the whole place. So for me, it's just about taking that time to have that natural conversation. So if you come in for a tour here, plan to hang out for 5-10 minutes, just talking a little bit, because we want to know about you.
Yeah. What about for you, Mike?
I mean, you covered a lot of the bases on it.
Yeah.
With the staff, it's just a matter of demonstrating. Like, they watch you, they listen to you do it. Asking, you have any kids? Okay, where did he play at? Where did he go to school at? Those types of things, because what that opens up then is possible opportunities for us doing a nice little donation for if they host a 5K for their school or something along that line, just to give back to them.
Or the Little League sponsorship.
Correct. The Little League sponsorship's huge. We started a huge new campaign with our social media. That's with business spotlights and things like that in the Radnor area that kicked off really well with basically the Radnor Little League launch. So just being active, giving back to the community, and really just showing them that we're not just there to do business. Yeah. We're there to actually be an integral part of the community and their lives.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I think it all intertwines, right? You guys know that there's the day-to-day, there's the long-term kind of figuring things out, but it really comes down to constant just connection and marketing, both within the club when you have just an individual sitting across from you, or we're working on event-based type marketing and things like that. So, all right, guys. Well, listen, I appreciate your time. The one thing I'm just going to kind of announce again at the end for everyone that's listening, members or non-members, is to come see our teams about especially our members, is this referral program that we're launching in the next few days here, because I think it's one of the cooler ways that we've come up with to kind of give back to the members that have been our biggest promoters, to give them an opportunity to kind of be part of the process with you guys. And secondarily, anyone that is interested with their own business or their own company that are already members with us, to connect with these guys and let them know, where they work, or other industries that they're associated with that we might be able to connect with and offer some sort of connection to the clubs, I think is really important.
Absolutely.
So we'll take the opportunity to kind of announce that. You guys can launch it and kick it off tomorrow.
Yep.
Our Feasterville members as well, same thing. Go see Brandy, go see Sherry, go see Christine, and get involved with that referral program. So again, thanks guys. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Matt.
Pleasure's
Thanks for
mine.
having us.
All right.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks.